if year after year there are more laws and regulations passed and more regulatory bodies created, eventually everything will be illegal.
Gavin Newsom, I put there in that Justin Trudeau, very small sliver of people who also just cannot utter anything true. So this is just so great. Just notice everything about him, the body language, the evil smile, all of it. He is a snake and a lizard person, and most likely will replace Biden by the convention. But here he is being asked about how California went from such a surplus to a horrific crushing debt on his watch.
Can we explain to Californians how we moved from a $100 billion surplus to such a significant deficit in just a matter of a few years?
Well, it's, we can explain it. $349 billion of unprecedented capital gains, 11.6%, when traditional capital gains is around 5.18% on average. It's almost double. So you had massive volatility. You have requirements under Prop 2, the GAN. You have requirements under Prop 98, which require that set aside. We use 93% of our surplus, which is, I want to be careful, either on the higher end or without precedent for one-time purposes. So we anticipated, because we didn't want that surplus to go to ongoing commitments, we anticipated that shortfall. What we didn't anticipate is these rain bombs in December, January, February, and March, these atmospheric rivers that led to a federal declaration that led to FEMA and the IRS moving in a direction where we couldn't collect our taxes until
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what everything, the body language, the fake smile, the words, he's just saying words. None of it means anything. First off, if you're having some issue with capital gains and tax rates and things, it's because so many rich people have left your state. That's all the analysis that I need to do on that. But then did you catch what he said there? The reason that they went from having billions in surplus to billions in deficit has something to do with rain bombs and atmospheric rivers. Have any of you heard of atmospheric rivers before? He's just saying crazy. They're like, how did you blow all this cash? Rain bombs and atmospheric rivers. It's all a lie, and they are here to destroy everything. And then, you know what happens? What happens then, in a way, the crazier they get, atmospheric rivers, the more bullshit that they throw at us. Then suddenly what happens is good people start waking up. One of the, probably the main guy who has woken up or let's say the most important person who has woken up over the last couple of years, of course, is Elon Musk. And here he is destroying several of California's policies that, of course, have been put in place by that man, the devil incarnate himself, Gavin Newsom.
If year after year there are more laws and regulations passed and more regulatory bodies created, eventually everything will be illegal. And that's why you see the California high-speed rail has made a tiny section that doesn't even have rail on it, for, I don't know, several $billion. Because everything's, at this point, California has made almost everything illegal. So you can't make progress. Most poignant example that I can think of that happened this week was the sad picture of the California high-speed rail, which is, it's just billions of dollars spent for practically nothing. But it'll only get worse year after year. So we must have a regulatory sort of clearinghouse, garbage collection process. This is essential, or civilization comes grinding to a halt.
Okay, so in California, they've spent billions and billions of dollars regulating the high hell out of everybody and taking taxes and all of that stuff and state income tax and everything, but they've spent billions and millions of dollars trying to build high-speed rail. They were trying to get us from LA to wine country, and that would have been nice, and they haven't laid a single track. You know what happened here in Florida? It took us about 4 or 5 years. We built the Bright Line. It took $5 billion, and you can now get from Miami to Orlando, and soon enough, they're working on it right now, you'll be able to get from Orlando to Tampa, and then you'll be able to go down, and then they will bisect the southern state, and you will be able to get virtually everywhere in Florida, and we'll do it in a couple of years, and we'll do it effectively, and we do that without state income tax. Isn't that something else? But in essence, what Elon is saying is the more you regulate, the more you control, which is exactly what this guy does, the more you crush the human spirit. And that, again, is why Gavin Newsom is the #1 U-Haul salesman of all time, because 1.3 roughly million people in the last 3 or so years have left California and they've moved to greener pastures, whether it's here in Florida or Texas or Tennessee or elsewhere.